One way to change the look of a room is to hang a wall covering, commonly known as wallpaper. There's a huge range of wall coverings available on the market today, from blown vinyl to anaglitter. They can all change the atmosphere of a room. They can also serve other purposes. Some coverings give thermal and acoustic insulation properties, and some can act as barriers against damp. In order to produce a truly great finish, it's essential to use a preparatory paper known as lining paper. In this demonstration, I will show the correct method for applying lining paper and the most effective way of setting your work area in preparation for hanging wallpaper in general. In most circumstances, it is not necessary to wear any specific personal protective equipment or PPE, but it is essential that before commencing work hanging wall coverings that you protect your hands from wallpaper paste. One of the best ways to do this is by wearing nitrile or rubber gloves, or by applying barrier cream. Barrier cream forms a protective layer over the surface of your skin. It is essential to work it well into the skin and ensure that all parts of the hands are covered thoroughly, around the nails and between the fingers especially. Wallpaper paste contains a mould inhibiting fungicide. This is essential to reduce the chances of mould spores growing on the back of the paper in damp or poorly ventilated rooms. The fungicide can lead to dermatitis of the skin. This can manifest as an allergic reaction, causing the skin to become red and inflamed, or dry and begin to crack. Prolonged exposure to wallpaper paste over a number of years will almost definitely result in dermatitis if protection is not used. The first thing that should be done is mixing the wallpaper paste. Use a clean bucket and fill with room temperature water. Not hot, as this will cause the paste to go off, and not freezing cold water, as this can cause the paste to not mix very well and become quite lumpy. We are using the most common type of adhesive, known as cellulose powder paste. This requires mixing with water. Read the back of the sachet or box to find out how much water you need to mix the paste correctly for the type of paper that you are hanging. A packet this size requires 6 litres of water for hanging the lining paper that we're using today. Cut the corner of the packet and then slowly pour the paste into the bucket whilst continuously stirring with a clean stick. This will take a few minutes. Then put the paste to one side and allow it to gel. The next thing to do is to set up the pasting table. Lay it flat on the ground, undo the catches and fold out the table. Put the legs of the table up and attach the leg braces. This is an A-frame style of table and is one of the most sturdy types. Flip the table over and place it as near to the work as possible. This will minimise the amount of time wasted walking back and forth from the wall you're working on. In a carpeted room, it is advisable to place a dust sheet under the table to catch any drips of paste that fall from the pasting table. Place the paste bucket and a bucket of clean water next to the table. These are the tools that you will require for the job. A spirit level, this will help you to mark out the walls before you start hanging the lining paper. paste brush. You can get specific wallpaper brushes, but a 4-inch paintbrush works just as well. A paper hanging brush, or it's known in the trade a sweep, this smooths out the wallpaper when applying it to the wall. Scissors, or decorator's shears, these are long bladed scissors and enable you to cut long lengths of paper easily. Pencil for marking the walls, a tape measure for measuring and marking the walls, and a roll of lining paper. This is a medium weight paper known as an 800 grade and is suitable for walls that have a good to reasonably good surface. Place the paste brush in the bucket, put the sweep, tape measure, scissors and pencil in your pouch, or if you're wearing decorator's whites, in the front pocket. First measure the width of the roll and then check the measurement on the label. This paper is 56 centimeters wide. Then using the tape measure, mark down from the ceiling 54 centimeters. This is 2 centimeters less than the width of the paper and allows for falls and rises in the ceiling height. This excess paper is called salvage. Mark it clearly. Put little arrows to identify the markings if you have to. Next, using the spirit level, mark a horizontal line on the wall. Line the bottom of the spirit level up with the pencil mark on the wall. Check that the bubble in the level is perfectly in the centre of the markings. Then using a pencil, draw a line. Now measure from the pencil line to the ceiling in several places. This is so that you can ensure the paper has enough selvage over the corner and is not short. Now measure the width of the wall and make a note of it. You will need to add 2 centimeters of selvage onto each end of the length of paper to allow for trimming. Remove the paper from its protective cellophane covering. Trim off the first revolution of the paper. It can usually be damaged or stained, or if you're using a thicker reinforced paper or warmer line type of paper, it will be crushed by the wrapper itself. If the length of paper required is less than the length of the pasting table, simply measure out the distance and mark it on the table. This way you don't have to measure every piece of paper with the tape measure. Line the edge of the paper with the end of the table, then roll it out. Put a small crease or mark on the paper where the measurement mark is. Fold it back, edge to edge, and fully crease it. Open it back out and cut down the crease with the papering shears. Roll out the paper, ensuring that the edges are level with the edge of the pasting table. Weigh the ends of the paper down, if you have to, and then start pasting the paper. Try to spread the paste out evenly. Ensure that the edges are coated thoroughly. Move the paper on the table so the edges are aligned so that you don't get paste onto the table. Now fold the paper. This type of fold is called a concertina fold. You would use it for cross-lining, ceiling work, and any papers that are particularly long and heavy if you're going to hang them vertically. You will now need to leave it to soak for a couple of minutes. This will allow the paste to absorb into the paper. If paper is not allowed to soak, air bubbles will form after it's applied and also cause uneven movement of the paper as it dries on the wall. Pick up the paper carefully and take it to the wall. Unfold the first fold. Holding the paper out in front of yourself, try to line the bottom of the paper with the pencil that's marked on the wall. Make sure that you have selvage hanging round the corner of the wall so that you can trim it off later. As you smooth the paper onto the wall, slowly let out the folds of the concertina fold. Smooth across the whole paper. Try not to handle the paper at all if possible. Gently tap the paper into the corners with the sweep. Always try to brush any bubbles out from the centre outwards towards the edge. This will allow the air to escape. Now, using the tips of your fingers, gently press the paper into the corners. This will give a crisp edge for you to mark into. Gently, holding a pencil from the end, mark the corners on the paper. Gently pull the paper away from the corner and carefully begin cutting down the pencil mark. Don't worry about pulling the paper off the wall to cut it. It will go back where it was quite easily. Try not to close the scissors all of the way on each cut. Leave them slightly open. This stops you from nicking the paper. If you do, it could make the edge of the paper look ragged. Trim all the way around the corners. When finished, check the paper is bubble free, and if not, smooth out once more. This is the first and most important piece of paper to hang. If positioned correctly, the rest of the widths of paper should simply butt up to the bottom edge of the first piece of paper. When you've finished your wallpapering, make sure to clean your paper shears, as paste will corrode and damage the cutting edge. Also, wipe down the table to remove any paste so it's ready for the next time.